All right, it is Monday, which means it is MLB Power Rankings day. The bottom of the list remains mostly unchanged. Miami moves ahead of Colorado at 28-29, Chicago at 30. So the Marlins and Rockies are battling for who will be the worst team in the National League. Angels 27, still A's 26, the Nationals 25. Pirates dropped 2 spots. They had a rough week, lost to the Cubs. I think they got swept by the Cubs. They fall from 22 to 24. And I think at this point, it is fair to officially eliminate the Pirates and Reds from playoff contention. They're both 10 games below 500. A miracle run could not save them. Texas moves up 2 spots. They swap places with Pittsburgh. They're now 22. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Too little, too late. Could they get back to being a 500 team? Maybe they can. It's not going to matter. The Giants, number 20, they dropped 3 spots. They have been 3-7 in their last 10 games. They're now 2 games below 500. And again, I'm not ready to do it yet. I'm not going to officially blow out their candle. But they are, at this point, they're far enough back in the wild card that they are effectively done. And Tampa Bay as well, 67-69, 3-7 in their last 10. They fall 3 spots. The Cardinals stay at 18, 5-5 in their last 10. 69-69. They are just hanging around 500. And again, if they're going to get hot, they're going to have to do it right now. This is the time. They don't have any more time to waste. They have an easy schedule to finish out the season. Could they make a little run? Could they try to catch Atlanta? Maybe. Seattle drops 2 spots from 15th to 17th at 1 game above 500, 69-68, 5-5 in their last 10. They're 10 games back of the AL number 1 seed. They're 5.5 back of the wild card. They're 6 back of Houston for the AL West. Again, they have an easy schedule going forward. They finish up with some A's, some Rangers. I don't entirely remember who else, but I know their schedule's pretty easy. But they have to take advantage of it. If they don't get hot soon, they will be eliminated for good. Red Sox also dropping 2 spots. They're down to 16th. At 70-67, just 3 above 500. Remember when they were a wildcard team? Not anymore. They are 3-7 in their last 10 games. I guess they're 4.5. They're 4.5 back of Kansas City. Detroit, welcome to the top 15. Welcome back to the top 15. Detroit moves up 4 spots. They are now 2 games above 500, 8-2 in their last 10. They've been hot. Again, feels like too little too late for the Detroit Tigers, who have really benefited from playing a lot against the White Sox this year, and they have dominated Chicago. I don't think Detroit gets back into the wild card chase. They're 5 games back of Kansas City right now. They do play the Royals, though, which is something the Red Sox don't get to do. The Royals the Tigers do have a shot at Kansas City. If they sweep the Royals, there's always a chance. So the Tigers are not out of it yet. They're at number 15. And then the Cubs, the highest climbers of the week, they move up 6 spots from 20 to 14. They have won 6 in a row. They have not lost since we did the last power rankings at 71-66. Meanwhile, their fellow Chicago team, the White Sox, they haven't won since we did the last power rankings. The White Sox had 31 wins last Monday. They still have 31 wins. The Cubs last Monday had 66 losses, and they still have 66 losses. Chicago, 9-1 in their last 10. They're right now in the wild card. They're only 3 back of Atlanta. There's a chance there. They actually have a real chance. Chicago Cubs, they could get back into this thing. Kansas City falling 5 spots. They got swept by Houston. Bad look. They're still in the playoff picture. The teams in bold are in the playoffs. I actually have the Mets as a top 10 team, despite not being a playoff team. I'll explain that in a second. But Kansas City at 13, they fall 5 spots. Minnesota also dropping 2 spots. They drop down to 12. So both of these teams were in the top 10 last week. Now they are out of the top 10, and they've been bad. Kansas City 3-7 in their last 10. They still are only somehow 3.5 games back of Cleveland. Kansas City playing Cleveland today. Actually, they lost. So Kansas City is now 4.5 back of Cleveland after losing today. 5.5 back of the number 1 seed. So they still technically have an outside chance of the number 1 seed if the Yankees crumble and they get hot at the right time. You never know what could happen. But as of now, Kansas City, Minnesota, I don't really believe in either of them in the playoffs anymore after seeing them crumble against good teams. Atlanta at 11. I have Atlanta 11, New York at 10, and you'd say, well, Atlanta should be ahead because they have a better record. Atlanta has a 1-game lead over the Mets right now, and the Mets have been better. The Mets 7-3 in their last 10, Atlanta 6-4 in their last 10. I think the Mets could catch Atlanta and make it into the playoffs. The Mets right now are tied with Boston. Atlanta today, what have they done? They do not play today. So the Mets, if they win today, they would be a half a game back, and I think they will. And then starting tomorrow, the Braves get the Rockies. And then after that, though, the weekend series, this was what to watch. Mets, Reds, and the Braves take on the Blue Jays. I think the Mets can catch up. And I think they will. So I have them at number 10, jumping 3 spots. Also jumping 3 spots, the Astros are back into the top 10. They are now at number 9. At 75-62, they're only 4 games back now of the New York Yankees, the number 1 seed, 6-4 in their last 10, and they just swept the Royals, which helps them out. San Diego moves from 9 to 8, 6-4 in their last 10 as well, 78-61. They're tied with Arizona as the number 1 and number 2 wild cards in the National League. Padres have been good lately. Arizona stays at 7. The rest of the top 10 mostly unchanged. Cleveland stays at 6. Baltimore stays at 5. Baltimore is half a game back of New York. Cleveland is a game back. So again, the number 1 seed in the AL is still wide open between New York, Baltimore, and Cleveland. Houston is still a little bit behind, but the number 1 seed in the AL, this is not over. Like, the NL's not over either, to be fair. Yankees, though, they have dropped to number 4. Brewers meant to be 3. They're at number 3. They move up 2 spots from 5 to 3. Congratulations to the Milwaukee Brewers at 7-3 now in their last 10. 81-57. They're only a game and a half back of the Dodgers. The Phillies, they've been doing a good job keeping the pace with the Dodgers. They are meant to be at number 2. They move up a spot. And then the Dodgers at number 1. The Dodgers still though just a 1-game lead over the Phillies. It is very close. So both leagues, it's kind of a 3-way race right now for the number 1 seed. In the National League, it is a 3-way race between the Dodgers, Phillies, and Brewers. Padres, Diamondbacks are both 5 back, kind of on the outside looking in. And then the wild card is between the Mets, Braves, and Cubs for the final spot. In the AL, 3-way battle between the Yankees, Orioles, and Guardians for the top seed. Astros pretty clearly locked in right now at number 4. And then it is the Twins and Royals who are sitting there in the wild card spots. A lot of teams that are trying to get back into it. Detroit, Boston, Seattle, Tampa. I don't believe particularly in any of those 4 teams. If one of them gets in, I would say that Detroit chases down the Royals. That would be my prediction. If Detroit can chase down Kansas City, that's the only way that I see a different AL team getting in. Those are my MLB Power Rankings. This is Coast to Coast Sports. We'll see you guys tomorrow.